to another episode of the Daily Flip podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're going to be talking about Tesla. We have Teslas on fire across the United States, Tesla stations lighting on fire, and we also have Tesla stock possibly being in a dumpster fire itself. So it's an interesting story. We have two of them, actually, one from MSNBC or Raw Story, and one that comes from Fox News. And of course, we went today with our Daily Delight story meant to leave you feeling positive, ready to take on the day. Now, that's enough rambling from me. Let's jump into our daily debate. So, if you were in the stock market right now, would you take your money out of Tesla? Are you in the stock market? Have you stayed with Tesla? Have you taken it out? Did you possibly divest from an ETF that has Tesla in it? Tell me what you're thinking, because the market is, at the end of the day, even though I think that the market is moving in really weird ways, you have algorithms that control a lot of the trades, and I don't think it's an actual true representation of the value of a company anymore. The market still speaks to consumer sentiment and how people feel about things, even if it's not a true representation of their value, because we're not all computers, we have emotions. So tell me what you would do, and maybe we can ascertain what some of the trends that will be coming down the pipe based on some of that. So with all of that, let's jump into our first story that comes from Raw Story quoting MSNBC. The headline for this one reads, "It's happening. MSNBC host makes case that Tesla is in deep trouble." And I'm going to go straight to the quote that actually matters here. We're not going to do the preface today. It's going to be right into what Mr. Joe Scarborough said. Quote, "On Wednesday's edition of Morning Joe, the co-host amusingly used Kenny Rogers, the gambler, to frame his narrative and tell the panel, quote, 'Listen to these facts. I wrote them down. Tesla sales down in the U.S., right? Last year, well, electric vehicle sales up in China. Tesla sales down 49%, while EV sales in the rest of the country went up 85%. In Germany, Tesla sales down 76%, while EV sales in that country overall went up 31%. And then he added, quote, 'His technology is not working. His driverless cars aren't working. The batteries are antiquated,' and end quote." Now, remember, you're going to hear this part that I'm going to say next really, really often, which is this was the man that was praised for moving the EV sector forward for years upon years, especially in the United States. Other companies were doing it, other countries were investing in it, but in the United States specifically, this is the man that was praised for doing it. And now, because he's getting involved in politics, he's weighing down his reputation. Other people don't want to be involved with his cars. Is that fair or not? Not necessarily. And to sit there and say that he is not a person who pushed these forward would be a terrible PR move on the point of anybody, because he was an innovator. So to try to deny him that is not the point. But luckily, a lot of people are actually doing the smart thing here, which is saying it's not that he didn't push these things forward, it's that we didn't realize where he stood on these sort of issues before, and now that we're getting a further glimpse into the man who wants to get more involved in politics, our opinion of him is changing. We're not saying he's any less of a genius, we're saying he's a genius that we don't want to be associated with, which I think is a smarter move from a PR front. Now, does that mean that all of this is justified, that all of this tanking of the Tesla stock, this this ridicule that's now really picking up? No, because all of these trends were present before Elon got involved in politics. There was a slight decline in sales coming out of 2022. We saw the EV markets expanding across the world and Tesla not necessarily being able to catch up. All of this was happening before he got involved in politics. Now, is it possibly exacerbated in places like Germany, where he actually backed a party that is a little bit more to the right? No. So I think that could be a actual extenuating circumstance of some of his arguments. But Tesla has been headed on this route for quite some time. They haven't released a new product besides the Cybertruck, which was very divisive, in a little bit, and they scrapped some of their new model ideas. So when we have these sort of conversations, I think that it's interesting that the politicons, the people who are actually more involved in politics, are coming after him now rather than pointing out some of these trends. Joe Scarborough is not a market watch kind of guy. He is not a Fox Business host. He's not an MSNBC business host. He's not a USA Today, a Business Insider host. So to do these sort of deep dives, it has to be targeted for some reason. And I think the if we're being honest, the honest reason is that, well, we're trying to break the illusion of Elon. They're trying to say, hey, he's not what you think he is. He doesn't just have all this money flowing out of everywhere. Tesla's not just the greatest company in the world. And I think you can make those sort of arguments, but when they're more politically targeted, it is interesting to see the vultures coming in because they don't like what he's doing. And to speak of vultures coming in, we have other stories that are much more pertaining to the violence and the protests that are happening across the entire country. This next one comes from Fox News. Headline reads, San Jose man arrested after viral video shows suspect keying Tesla in a Costco parking lot. And I will read the preface for this one so you have all the details as we go further on. Quote, a suspect has been arrested after a viral video captured a man keying a Tesla in a Costco parking lot, police said on Monday. The incident happened on Friday, according to Fox 11 Los Angeles. Within less than 24 hours of the viral vandalism incident being reported to San Jose Police Department, we successfully identified, located, and arrested the individual responsible for this act of felony vandalism, San Jose Police said in the post. And now we're going to go to the description of the video. Quote, in the video, a dark-colored Honda SUV pulled into the parking spot next to a white Tesla. A white-bearded man wearing a USA leather jacket with an American eagle on the back exited the car and keyed the side of the Tesla. The video, which garnered over 600 views on X, was recorded using the vehicle Sentry mode, end quote. Now, mind you, 600 views. That is not extremely viral. So I think it is fascinating that these sort of media companies, Fox News and others, who are trying to play up this sort of thing, they are finding these examples, which is not to say that they're not happening. Of course, it is good that when vandalism occurs, we find who it is, and then we address the situation, we arrest them, we try to find out their motivations, we possibly prosecute them for doing what they're doing, not because he's going after a Tesla, but because he's going after somebody else's private property. If it was a video of somebody else keying somebody else's car, yeah, we should address that as well. But the reason that's really interesting is because these media organizations are focusing on it more because it is Tesla, because 600 views on X is not viral. That is nothing. Okay, we're on X, you could say, okay, that has a lot of views, fair, for just a normal account, but we're talking about millions of users on X, we're talking about billions of users on YouTube. Even if you put it on Rumble, there are hundreds of thousands of users there. There are plenty of other ways for it to go viral. I mean, we are talking minuscule here, and this is exactly what's happening with Fox News and other outlets. They are hyper-focusing on these stories, just like MSNBC is hyper-focusing on the downfall of Tesla or the plummeting of the stock, because Elon is at the center of politics nowadays. He is right there, nested in the middle of everything in the Trump administration. He's nested for the love gaining the love and admiration of the people who support Donald Trump, and the hatred for the people that don't support Donald Trump. And that is what's actually fascinating. A lot of people were talking about Elon being a second president. They were making the joke, and Donald Trump kind of being acquiescent to him, allowing him to do his thing. And while I think that's true to some degree, because Trump just likes people who are intelligent, he likes people who have lots of money, who are culturally popular, I think he likes all those things. I also think this is part of what's going on here. Elon Musk could never actually be a president, but he is a person who garners media attention. He was, for a while there, even after he took over X, he was more hated than Donald Trump in some regards. And he is a person who can take the slings and arrows. He's a person who doesn't care. And Donald Trump can slide underneath the radar a little bit more. And I think that was actually a genuine plan by the Trump administration. Do I think it was spelled out as explicitly as this? No, I'm not trying to say that. But I do think that that is absolutely fascinating. I think it's a fascinating theory, and I think to some degrees we're starting to see that bear out. So I don't think we could just simply dismiss something like that when people bring it up, because, like I said, the question was, why is Donald Trump acquiescing so much to Elon? Why is he letting Elon be getting more attention than him and be the face of so many projects? And that may be why. Just a theory. I was going to say game theory, but it's not game theory, but just a theory. So let's jump into our Daily Delight today. This one comes from Cheeseburger. Batten down the hatches for this chaotic child carnival of cuteness. I actually did this one before, But they have a repost that they're doing with a new updated photo section of absolutely wild cats. So I'm doing it again. If you want to go to the links in the description. All of them will be there below the like and subscribe button. You can find the links to the podcast on Spotify, Podcast, Podvine. You can find all the articles from today, the two that we mentioned at the very beginning, but also the Daily Delight. And you can also find the link to the Twitter handle or the X handle, Your Daily Flip, where I post the links to these episodes and our international news segment that comes out on Tuesday and Thursday. It's 6 minutes or less of international news. You'll get 6 stories, and then from there you can just go about your day. So, with all of that, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.